Hi everyone, so Robin here, and this is part 10 of my Pokemon Black and White rewrite. So without further ado, let's dive in. We continue our story with Ash and Iris traveling towards Verbank City to meet up with Hilbert, Hilda, and Dawn. And when they get there, they all have an emotional reunion, with Ash and Hilbert sharing the gym battle, with Hilbert being surprised that Ash actually lost his first one, but being happy that he won his rematch. Ash and Dawn also have a great catch-up session. And there's even a cute moment when Piplup sees Gipple finally fully evolved and gets terrified of these Draco Meteors. After getting talk, all of a sudden, Ash noticed someone in the distance. And when he looked closer, it revealed to be none other than the Sinnoh champion, Cynthia. Him and Dawn being happy to meet her again, but the University is shocked that Ash and Dawn even know someone like that. With that, it revealed that Cynthia is staying in her vacation house in Andela Town for a while, and invites Ash in the game to stay there for a bit, as well as doing some training for the Unova League. With all of them excited, but before they can leave, Iris approaches Cynthia and wants to challenge her to a battle. Beginning her dream of being a Dragon Master, she explained that he wants to train and show that he is strong enough. Being happy to do so, Cynthia agreed to it, and the two agreed to have a one-on-one battle. It's Cynthia's Garchomp versus Iris' Swilus, revealing that her Dino have evolved. The battle is immediately yet a head-on clash, with Swilus doing his bit to attack Garchomp head-on. However, unlike Ash's Garchomp, this one is a complete menace, easily shutting down any sort of attack before striking back with brutal force. Eventually, the two of them go in for a final clash of Dragon Rushes. However, Garchomp is easily left standing with not much damage done to it. Iris returns Swilus and thanks Cynthia for the battle and telling her that she's going to battle even harder next time, with Cynthia nodding approvingly. After a quick plane ride, the gang eventually reach Andela Town and get to Cynthia's vacation home, where they eventually do all have the events that happen in canon, with Iris still casting her Dragonite. However, there will not be an Operation Tempest or Unity Club tournament arc here, simply because it pretty much closes the league and the final competition with Team Plasma, and I don't feel like there's a reason to bring up that just now. That is until the last day, where Dawn is about to return to Johto to continue her performance, and Iris decides to travel on her own to the league, with taking a quick stop at her home village. They decide to end their stay by having a tag team battle. It's Hilbert and Iris versus Dawn and Ash. Hilbert and Iris decide to go in with Musharna and Dragonite, while Ash and Dawn decide to go in with Krokorok and Mamoswine. The battle between the two teams is immediate, with Ash and Dawn having great combinations, and even though their Pokemon had not worked together much. Other than Hilbert does a pretty good job as well, with Dragonite's overwhelming power and Musharna's support providing some good combo. Eventually, Dragonite threw them out wails on Krokorok, almost beating it to a pulp. However, Krokorok refused to give up, and in a fit of determination, evolved into Crocodile and learns Dragon Claw. That immediately took the time of the battle. With Mamoswine pushing Musharna back, the two of them are able to combine Ice Shot and Stone Edge, forming a move that they choose to call Icicle Stone Edge. This move immediately soared into their opponent, which completely knocked both of them out. With Ash and Dawn doing their signature high five and celebration, Iris and Hilbert realizes that they're going to have to work even harder if they're ever going to beat Ash. With that, our friend decides it's time to leave Cynthia's vacation home and thanking her for allowing her to stay there. With that, they arrive at the airport, where Dawn takes the next flight to Johto to continue performance before giving Ash a high five and saying good luck. And lastly, it's time for Iris in the game to say goodbye, since she's heading back to the village before the league, as Ash, Hilbert, and Hilda are heading straight for the league, promising a meeting there and hopefully be able to meet each other in battle. After a long time wandering and having a couple of side adventures, eventually the gang reach Virtuous City, the home of the Virtuous Conference, where Ash and Hilbert are going toe-to-toe with all the trainers who obtained 8 gym badges. As they start looking around, Hilbert is nervous that he has finally managed to get the league, but also nervous that he's going to have to face Ash as well as all the other rivals they met along the way. However, Ash compliments Hilbert, telling him that he's going to do great and just focus on the one battle in front of him. These words encourage Hilbert, and he promised Ash to do well. The gang continue looking around, even running into Sharon, Bianca, and Iris once again, talking about how they are all ready for the league and hoping they'll be able to face each other. After reconvention, it's finally time for their battles, and revealed to be triple battles. Ash battled with her, and he used his Pikachu, Zoroark, and Servine, and the three of them are working together effectively to completely destroy their opponent. Next is Hilbert, and he's able to use Emperor Bravier and Musharna as a symbol of his very first triple battle during the Striaton Gym. With the three of them working together effectively, they're able to quickly getting the upper hand and getting the win. Next is Sharon, which uses a combination of Excelgor, Gigalith, and Jellison to fight effectively, with Excalibur going close, Jigglypuff turning the defender, and Jellison attacking from a distance. Next is Bianca, and using a combination of Lilligant, Chandelure, and Mienshao, she's able to quickly get the upper hand and demolish her opponent without much trouble. Finally is Iris, and she uses Drodigan, Aggron, and Archeops, fighting to get with Ferocity of Dragons and just heavy hitters, and she's able to get the win as well. The couple of rounds pretty much goes forward, eventually beginning to the top 16. The battle of 3-on-3, with everyone doing their very best. Hilbert able to win his match with Scrafty being his last Pokemon, Sharon's able to beat his with only a life part left, and Bianca is able to win with her Cinccino, and I was able to win with her newly evolved Hydreigon. Lastly is Ash, and he's challenged by Marlin of Humility City, which reveals that he's a gym leader. However, he decided to take on the lead to show that he had the strength of becoming even more. Seeing that he had been able to use Pokemon from other Unova, Ash knows that he's not going to be messing around. With that, they send out their third Pokemon with the Wailord and Pikachu. Pikachu, using his speed and his smaller size, they were able to easily outmaneuver Wailord and deliver some heavy hits. However, Wailord is bulky and able to take multiple attacks, and whenever it hits an attack, it's with tremendous force. Seeing this, I decided he needs to switch, and he switched out Pikachu for Duwat. Duwat, using his agile movement, is able to quickly avoid and deliver every hit, and eventually is enough to take Wailord out. Next is Jellison, which is able to use its skillful maneuvers to easily outpace Duwat before delivering a powerful Shadow Ball up close, which unfortunately is enough to take Duwat out. Pikachu is then back in and using its speed and agility is able to land a Thunderbolt. However, that causes Curse Body to activate, but luckily the electric attack is enough to take Jellison out. Finally, it's Mantine, and Pikachu no longer be able to use Thunderbolt, is able to quickly outmaneuver and land a deciding Whirlpool to take Pikachu out. With that action in his final Pokemon, Volcarona. Surprising the audience that he's using a fire bug type to battle a water flying type. While it seems weak, Ash then calls on the Sunbringer through power and calls on a Sunny Day. This both weaken the power of water type move, but boost the power of Volcarona's fiery dance. But Marlin does not allow that to go easy, using his death around flying type being to get the upper hand, Volcarona is getting weakened quickly. When it looks like it's over, Ash just smiles and calls on a Solar Beam. And with that, it launches a powerful beam of grass type energy, which lands into Mantine hard, which takes it out, meaning Ash has managed to move on to the top 8 along all of his friends. It's now time for the top 8. The battle is now revealed, with Ash taking on Bianca and Hilbert taking on Sharon. Hilbert is nervous. Sharon always seems the kind of trainer who just calm and calculated, always knew what to say. However, he now believes that he has the skill to actually be able to win against her. With Ash encouraging word, the two of them prepare, and eventually the time for the battle arrives. First is Ash versus Bianca, with Bianca being nervous to taking on Ash so early. While she knew she might have taken on Soul Place, she was not expecting now. But she's not going to turn around. She's going to fight. As seeing her determination, he compliments her, and with that, the battle begins. Every battle in the top 8 will be a full 6-on-6 battle. And first up is Escavalier versus Zoroark. Bianca tried having Escavalier using Sword Dance to boost his attack to immediately going for the head clash. However, Zoroark uses the trickery and illusion to easily avoid the attack, and is able to deliver some heavy hits. Even when Escavalier delivers a hit, it's unfortunately not too much, with Zoroark able to avoid most of the damage, but it still takes a lot of hits. Eventually, it tried to go in for a final Fury attack, however Zoroark delivered a nice daze up close, which is able to push Escavalier back and knock it out. Next, Amy and Fu, having far more discipline and focus, is able to anticipate Zoroark's movement and is able to strike accordingly, eventually landing a high jump kick which knocks it out. Next is Duwat, and the disciplined fighters begin to battle. While it's even, the two of them has one glaring difference between the two. While Mienshao is strictly a close-up fighter, Duwat can attack both from up close and at a distance. Using that to his advantage, it's able to use Water Pulse and deliver heavy hits from afar, which disrupts Mienshao's movement. Eventually, when they go for a high jump kick, Duwat is able to use Water Pulse to temporarily blind it, which causes it to crash before an Aqua Jet takes it out. And next is Emboar. Surprising at the Bianca decided to go in for a fight type against a water type. Duwat tried to go in for a close-up attack. Bianca surprised that by calling on Attract, which is surprising since Attract is not a move that he knew Emboar had learned. And Bianca's Emboar being female is actually able to affect Duwat, which immobilizes long enough for Emboar to get the finishing blow. She decided to return Emboar for now, and with that, the next stand out, Volcarona and Chandelure. It's a match of fire types, both of them hitting each other with heavy attacks, with both of them doing their best. However, when it comes to the match between Ghostly and Solar Flame, the sun always shines brighter, and Volcarona is able to get the win, but is clearly exhausted. Next, Bianca is Shinshino, who does using its normal timing and by tight coverage to deliver very heavy hits, and is able to take Volcarona down. Next is Servine. With that, the two of them have an attack duel. Using the move against each other, is able to cancel each other out, which unfortunately causes them to rely on their other moves. But just then, however, Ash is talking about an idea. Using Leap Beyond the Ground, which cover up a dust cloud, and uses the moment to call on an attack. And as the horse was in, Shinshino is to blind them with smoke so you can see it, and with that it hit. Gives Servine just enough time for a Leap Blade to be able to take it out. Next comes Ember in once again, and using his triple strength, is able to take down Servine quickly. However, that is when Ash decides to then in his next Pokemon, Garchomp. Bianca reminded by the very first battle they had, as Garchomp was the Pokemon that delivered the most damage to her. However, he refuses to go down, and with that, the two heavy fighters begin the battle. Ember does it best to keep it close, and Garchomp tries to go in on the ground with Dick. However, Bianca has Ember launch attacks into the hole, which forces Garchomp out. Eventually, the two are going for a clash with Hammer, Arm, and Dual Shock, and when it ends, both Pokemon fall. The two complement their Pokemon and doing a well job before it time to send in their final Pokemon, Lilligant and Crocodile. Bianca is surprised at choosing to go in with Crocodile instead of Pikachu, seeing that he expected him to use his strongest Pokemon. However, Ash revealed that he's not gonna just rely on Pikachu in this match, and he's going to rely on all of his Pokemon. With that, the battle immediately goes in here for a heavy blow, with Crocodile better to hit Lilligant hard. However, Lilligant uses on Kikidra is able to keep it healthy. Eventually, both of them are exhausted, but Crocodile is worth a wear, as Bianca tries Lilligant to go for a final Solar Beam. Ash surprises Bianca and calls on an Aerial Ace. The move catches Bianca off guard so much that she doesn't even have time to register a counter attack before the attack slams into Lilligant, knocking it out. Meaning Ash has moved on and Bianca has officially lost. She cries for a bit, but then goes up to Ash and compliments him on battle well fought, wishing him good luck in his next match. Next up, Hilbert vs. Sharon. The two of them stare at each other with mutual respect and wishing each other good luck in this battle. Both of them agreeing that they're going to hit each other with everything they have. The battle begins with Liepard versus Caracosta. Liepard has the speed, but Caracosta's bulkiness is allowing it to take multiple hits. Eventually, when Liepard's speed becomes too much, Hilbert calls on a Shell Smash, which improves Caracosta's speed and also improves the attack power. With that, Caracosta is able to keep up with Liepard better and is able to deliver heavy hits. Eventually, Caracosta goes in for a powerful ancient power which takes out Liepard. Next is Excelgor, and while Shell Smash improves its speed better, Excelgor's speed is far too much. And with the drawback of also lowering its defense, Caracosta doesn't have much defense left, which unfortunately allows Excelgor to take it out relatively quickly. Next is Musharna. However, that's when Hilbert smiles and calls on a surprise move, Trick Room. The move catches Sharon completely off guard. As the material covered the battlefield, it totally turned to down the battle. With Excelgor's main speed advantage now being gone, Musharna is able to deliver a barrage of powerful attack. With a close-up Shadow Ball, it's able to seal the deal, means Hilbert now leads in the battle. This surprises Sharon. He did not expect Hilbert to come out to him with such an impressive strategy. However, he does not deter, and with that he sends out his next Pokemon, Jellicent. This immediately becomes a problem for Hilbert. Seeing how both of them are slow fighters, Jellicent is definitely slower, which unfortunately allows the Trick Room to become a disadvantage for Hilbert, as Jellicent needs to delay and close-up attack and is able to get out of the way before Musharna officially launches a counter-attack. Eventually, the two of them fire off a Shadow Ball. However, Jellicent is faster, which is unfortunately enough to take down Musharna. Next is Scrafty, and is able to use his defensive style to actually hold on to Jellicent long enough for Trick Room to fade away. With that, it allows Scrafty to go in and deliver heavy attack before Jellicent is able to counter. Eventually, the two of them go in for final clash with Payback and Shadow Ball, and when both moves collide, it causes an explosion, and when it ends, both Pokemon are knocked out. Left with only 3 Pokemon left, both of them realize that they're going to require a win quickly. So with that, Sharon in Pheasant as Hilbert in Braviary. The battle of the flying side immediately commences, with both of them going in for full speed. However, when the two of them go in for a final clash of Superpower and Sky Attack, it's Braviary that is standing victorious, meaning Sharon is now down to only 2. With that, he sends in Gigalith as Hilbert sends in Garavengula. He hopes Garavengula's speed allows him to maneuver for Gigalith. However, Gigalith is not planning on speeding it, it's only a plan on cornering it. Using a barrage of Rock Slide, it is eventually able to transform the battlefield to one of a rocky metal rocks, which unfortunately corners Gavengula. With that, Giggle is able to fire off a rock blast close up, which unfortunately is enough to take down Galvantula. With that, Sharon said in Braviary again, using its speed, it's able to outmaneuver Giggle for a while, but it's able to live. But Giggle lands a couple of heavy hits. However, Braviary refuses, and rushing in with the power of superpower, is able to land an attack which takes out Giggle, leaving Sharon with only one Pokemon left, his number one starter, Serperior. With Braviary completely exhausted from his battle with Gigalith and a Pheasant, it doesn't take much, and Serperior is able to take Braviary out. With that, the battle is between only two Pokemon, Serperior and Emboar. The two of them immediately go for a clash, both of them hitting each other with everything they have. However, Serperior's speed allows it to stay ahead of Emboar all the time, and Hilbert started worrying, believing that he may just lose this one. However, just then Emboar yells at him, and when Hilbert looks at Emboar's eyes, it's eyes of full trust. Emboar trusts in Hilbert, and Hilbert knows he's gonna have to put just as much trust in Emboar. With that, Emboar's flame becomes stronger, revealing that he has activated Blaze. And with that, the two immediately rush towards each other, hitting each other with everything they have. Eventually, it's enough to even get Serperior's Overgrowth activated, before they try going for a finishing clash with Leaf Tornado and Heat Crash. As the move collides, it's a fearsome explosion. However, the flames of Heat Crash is able to outpower the tornado and eventually land a hit, which causes Serperior to go down, meaning Hilbert has won and have moved on to the top 4. Sharon is surprised. However, he smiles, saying that he is impressed by Hilbert's strength and he wishes him luck on the next battle, which eventually is revealed. But both trainers are being surprised, and everyone is surprised when the next match is revealed to be Ash versus Hilbert. The two trainers look at each other. Ash and Hilbert have been traveling together throughout all Unova, and now they're gonna have to battle one another. They always knew this was gonna happen eventually, and now they're gonna face each other, not as teacher and student, but as two equal rivals. The battle immediately begins with Galvantula versus Zoroark, using the same two Pokemon that ended their last 6-on-6 battle. The two of them go forward all they got. However, using Galvantula's electro weapon on the ground, it cut down Zoroark's movement. It eventually is able to get in close, and a powerful Bug Buzz is powerful enough to take out Zoroark. Next is Volcarona, a match of the Bug types. However, there's a reason that Bug types are weak to fire and not electricity, and in the end, the Volcarona is able to take the win, meaning next up is Caracosta. Even though Ash uses Sunny Day to cut down Caracosta's water attack and Solar Beam to hit it with super 50 damage, Solid Rock causes Caracosta to take less damage overall, and a couple of Shell Smashes allows it to get the upper hand and eventually take down Volcarona. With that, Ash decided to go in with Pikachu, surprising Hilbert that Ash is going in with his number one Pokemon right away. Even though Hilbert does it best, Pikachu's speed is unmatched, and is able to get in close before hitting Caracosta in the leg with Iron Tail to cast down on his movement before a Thunderbolt takes it out. Hilbert knows that Pikachu is gonna be the toughest challenge he's gonna have to face, so he's gonna have to push forward with everything he has. And with that, he's in Emboar, and using his power, is able to actually push Pikachu back before letting a Heat Crash, which takes down Pikachu. Hilbert started here. He has managed to take down Ash's strongest Pokemon, and now he has 4 of his Pokemon, while Ash only has 3. Ash starting getting a bit nervous, however, he's not going to give up. As Hilbert switches out Emboar for Musharna, Ash going with Servine. The two battle each other hard. Both of them has a unique strategy of their hand. Musharna uses Hypnosis, while Servine uses Attract. However, Servine is able to use Vine Whip on itself to keep itself awake before getting close and delivering a powerful Leaf Blade which takes out Musharna. Next is Braviary, and while Servine does it better to avoid it, unfortunately Braviary's speed is too much and Servine eventually falls. Next is Crocodile, and the two battlers go against each other head to head, hitting each other with Brutal Attack after Brutal Attack. Eventually, Braviary will go with Superpower, however Crocodile creates a Stonish Counter Shield which blocks out the attacks and takes down Braviary. Next is Scrafty, the two Dark types hitting each other with all they have, not giving an inch to each other as they push forward. However, Scrafty's fighting timing does give it the edge, and as Crocodile is going for Air Release, Scrafty does a close-up Focus Blast which takes Crocodile down, meaning Ash is only down to one last Pokemon. And with that, he opens it up as in his final Pokemon, Dewott. After two of them hit each other with everything they have Dewott managed to use his Scale Shot to block Scrafty's attack before using the second one to deliver close-up moves. Eventually, Scrafty fought back enough so Ash can hit it with a combination of Razor Shell and Aqua Jet. And when the smoke clears, Scrafty has been taken down, meaning Hilbert is now down to his last Pokemon, Emboar. The battle is immediate. Ash tried to have him do what using a water pulse. However, just then, Hilbert surprised Ash by having Emboar spin on his back and releasing a flamethrower, creating a fire counter shield. Ash is surprised seeing Hilbert actually using a counter shield against him. Hilbert telling Ash that he'd been practicing that move just in case Emboar and Duet would ever face up, knowing that that's gonna be just the key he needs to finally win against Ash. And the two hitting each other with everything happened. Hammer on with the Razor Shot. He grabbed for the Aqua Jet. However, Emboar's superior size allows it to outpower Duet in most of those categories. While it seems like Duet is going to fall, Ash yells an encouraging word. And with that, Duet starts to rise before all of a sudden water starts surrounding it. However, when the water anticipates, it's not Duet that's the answer, but Samurott. While surprised by this, Hilbert refuses to give up, and Emboar remains shutting in with another Hammer. While it lands, Duet releases one of its skill shots with an orange glow and strikes back, revealing its newly learned move, Revenge. As the two fighters hitting each other with everything they have, it's clear to form an even matchup. Eventually both are exhausted enough, and both Ash and Hilbert call on their last moves, Hammer Arm and Revenge. And when the two moves collide, it seems to be a deadlock. However, just then, Emboar's knee starts to buckle, which gives Samurai just enough power to push it through and knocking it out, meaning Hilbert is lost and Ash moves on to the Unova League Finals. Hilbert and Ash walk up to each other, shaking each other's hands, and Hilbert explains that while he lost, he is happy that he was able to battle against Ash. Ash explains that he is also happy he was able to battle him, and that was one of the best battles he had ever had in Unova. As the two smile at each other, all of a sudden, the area is engulfed by a mysterious red glow. But all of a sudden, when they look up, they see none other than Reshiram with N on his back. N explains that the Pokemon League is wrong, and he's going to put an end to it right now, and calls on Team Plasma's castle to rise. All of a sudden, Team Plasma's castle rises around the city, engulfing the entire city in the mysterious shadow of the castle. And the Reshiram flies toward the castle, explaining that the one who has Zekrom with him is free to challenge him, but everyone else are locked down. He enters the castle, and all of a sudden, Team Plasma girls appear out of nowhere and reveal he's been hiding there all along, sending out the majority of their Pokemon in order to keep everyone from leaving, as well as forcing them to release their Pokemon. Ash, Hilbert, and Hilda knows that this is gonna have to end now. However, Ash and Hilbert's team are exhausted. They're not having the power to actually continue. So Hilda sets up the middle of the battle for a while in order to get to the castle. However, that's when Cobra shows up and telling us that he's not gonna allow him to continue, that he's going to take the Dark Stone for himself. When he has Klingline try to attack, all of a sudden, an Excadrill appears, and it belongs to none other than Clay. When they all start looking around, they notice that all the gym leaders are there. Silent, Shilly, Grass, Lenora, Burke, Elisa, Skylar, Bryce, Roxy. They also do Drayden battle alongside Iris. Even Sharon and Bianca are battling alongside their Pokemon. And in the distance, they even see Alder and the entire Unova Elite Four fighting alongside all the trainers to stop Team Plasma. Alder yells out to Ash, telling him to continue, that they're gonna handle this. Nodding, the trio immediately rushes toward the castle. As they quickly rush through the halls in order to find them, eventually they appear at the gate to the throne room, and outside they Concordia and Anthea. They explain that they're not gonna stop Ash this time, as N had specifically requested that he's going to battle. However, he had to go in alone. They're not going to battle Hilbert and Hilda, seeing how Hilbert's Pokemon are exhausted. They're not going to hurt his Pokemon anymore. With that, Ash enters the throne room, and on the other side, he is none other than N. Ash yells at N to stop this, that this is just madness. However, N doesn't listen. Mia tells Ash that they're going to have to end this in a battle here and now. As they take their position, N explains the point that Zekrom has not awakened yet. However, that's not going to matter now because Reshiram is already here. All of a sudden, Reshiram bursts through the throne room, surprising Ash completely. Ash getting nervous. All of his Pokemon are exhausted. Zekrom is not winning yet. How is he supposed to win? But he doesn't think like that. He's telling himself that he's going to win. His ideals are strong, and they are going to win. They're not going to allow Team Plasma to succeed. All of a sudden, the Dark Stone emerges from his backpack again, but this time, when engulfing its power, it suddenly changes and transforms into the other Unova Dragon, Zekrom. The final battle and determining the future of Unova begins. Both the dragons hit each other with incredible power. Dragon Claw for the Dragon Pulse, then Headbutt for the Extrasensory. Both even hit each other with a Dragon Breath, which causes the entire roof of the castle to explode. With that, Ash and N jump onto the dragons, flying across the sky, trying to hit each other with everything they have. However, when Ash looked down, he notices something incredible. Every single one of his friends and rivals, all battling, all protecting the Pokemon. Seeing this gives him the drive he needs, believing now his idea acts true. With that, the two of them calls on their final move, Fusion Flare and Fusion Bolt. However, when Zekrom slides into Reshiram, it's falls to the ground and is pinned down by Zekrom. Ash yells at the end that the battle is over. They call off the army now. And it's in shock. He has lost. He believed that his truth was the real one. But Ash's idea was stronger. As Annie's about to call off the army, all of a sudden they hear a commotion outside and rush to the Rogodon wall to see what happened. That's when they see that Sephiroth and Team Plasma ripped out their costume and suddenly replaced by the Black Ones. And now they're immediately going in to attack the trainers with new ferocity, even pushing most of them back. Outside the room, however, Hilbert, Lalaska, Corny, and Avia are actually being confronted by the Shadow Triad. Ash yells at the end, telling that the battle was over. However, Ed is shocked. He had no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, a roar is heard behind them, and Zekrom and Reshiram are knocked out. When they look to see what's happening, they see none other than Ghetsis. Ed tells his father that the battle is over. He lost. But Ghetsis just left, telling Ed that the battle was never about Joe's idea. He just wanted Ed to finally bring out Reshiram so he can use it to take over Unova. However, the hero of the ideas also serves his part, because now he has control over both Unova legends. And Team Plasma can now take over Unova with Ghetsis himself as the king. With that, he rips off his clothes and reveals an ominous new outfit with a creepy scepter, revealing that he's now going to get rid of them since they're the only ones who can stand in his way. Ash refuses to kill though. He then turns to enter active battle alongside him. In order to beat Ghetsis, they need to work together, and is surprised to see that Ash from the battle with him after everything, but agrees to do it to stop his father. With that, Ash goes in with Pikachu as Ed calls on Zoroark. However, that's when Ghetsis smiles and calls him his powerful Pokemon, Hydreigon. The battle is immediate. While Zoroark is not much of a battler, Pikachu is already exhausted from the final battle he had. The Hydreigon uses it to protect them with all they have. When it seems to be hopeless, Zoroark lets out a powerful roar. They don't know what's happening, but all of a sudden, a commotion is heard outside. When they look outside, they see Sora and Zoroark attacking, revealing that Zora's family from the Hidden Village has appeared and helping them take on Team Plasma. However, that's not the only thing they notice. Some of the other Team Plasma guns still wear their original uniform, even battling alongside the gym leaders to take down the evil Team Plasma, revealing that some of their followers was loyal to him and not Ghetsis. Meanwhile, outside the throne room, the Elder and Mima are actually battling the Shadow Triad in order to protect Hilbert, Hildyke, Corny, and Avia. When they see it, Ash ends up filled with new hope, and with that, Pikachu unleashes the Thunderbolt against the two dragons, which causes them to wake up. Ghetsis get angry, telling Hydreigon to finish them all off with a Hyper Beam. As they rush up the attack, all of them calls on their final moves. Zoroark with Dark Pulse, Pikachu with Thunderbolt, Zekrom with Fusion Bolt, and Reshiram with Fusion Flare. The four will collide into one giant force, and when the move slams into Hydreigon, it's quickly knocked out, and Ghetsis is defeated. Shocked by this, he doesn't have enough energy to run, and outside, the international police start arresting Team Plasma, and the Team Plasma that knows the end agreed to go with them willingly, believing that they're not gonna answer for all their crimes. Up in the throne room, Ash thanks the dragons for helping them. With that, the two Unovan dragons start flying off, revealing that they are now serve their purpose. Ash and Ed start looking at each other in wonder, wondering what is going to happen now. Ed explains to Ash that ever since he met him, he'd been an enigma, since Pikachu revealed that he liked him. He never seen that Pokemon and trainer actually like each other that much, but he believes now he finally noticed the truth, telling us that now he's going to go and fix all the mess his father and himself has caused, but hoping that they'll be able to meet each other again. Ash likes that, and telling Ed that now he sees him as a close friend, with Aang not helping but smiling to that. And with that, Ed leaves the throne room, meaning Team Plasma has officially come to its end. The final of the Unova League finally arrived. Seeing how Team Plasma's battle did not actually cause that much damage to the original stadium, the battle is still underway. And with that, it revealed that the final battle is Ash versus Iris. As the two staring at the field, the two of them smile at each other, revealing that they are not going to hold anything back in this last battle. So with that, they need to call out their Pokemon in order to get the battle underway. First is Arceus versus Zoroark. Ash, knowing about defeated, uses Zoroark's movement to avoid both attacks and chipping away at Arceus slowly. Eventually, it comes down to the defeated range, which allows Zoroark to pounce on it and defeat Arceus. With that, Zoroark hurts its Mima and the Elder sharing in the crowd, revealing that the two of them have stayed behind in order to shield Zoroark. But Riven knows that the battle is not over yet. Next, Iris is in Druddigon, and while Zoroark does use the illusion to confuse him for a while, eventually Druddigon decides to just charge straight in through the illusion, which actually allows it to hit Zoroark before taking it out with a Dragon Claw. Next is Samura, and the two fighters hit each other with everything they have. However, Samura's disciplined side allows it to quickly sidestep when Dragon lands an attack. Before hitting it with a revenge, we take it out. Next is Hydreigon. Samura does it best to fight back. However, Hydreigon is both fast and powerful. So Samura tried to shoot it out with the Aqua Jet. However, that is what I wanted. And Hydreigon is able to using his side head to actually bite onto Samura, which captured long enough for the middle head to fire off a hyper beam straight to the face. That amount of forces Samura to hit the ground hard and knock it out. Next is Garchomp. The battle of pseudo legendaries begins. Both of them hitting each other with a brutal onslaught. Eventually, both are exhausted and they both call on a finishing Draco Meteor. As the meteor starts slamming into the two of them, we reveal that it's enough to knock the two of them out. Next is Servine versus Aggron. While Servine's attack does work for a while, Aggron's defense is too much, and eventually Aggron is able to slam in with a double edge which knocks Servine out. However, Servine has definitely put in the work. Next is Krookodile, and using a quick dig is able to avoid Aggron's attack and then delivers a powerful blow which knocks it out. Next is Dragonite. Dragonite wanting revenge on Krookodile for beating him last time, and the two hitting each other with everything they have. Eventually, it comes down to a clash between Dragon Claw and Dragon Rush, and in the end, Krookodile falls. While Dragonite hears, it clearly exhausted. So Pikachu quickly comes in and delivers a quick Iron Tail which knocks it out. That means it's now down to the final match with Pikachu versus Haxorus. Both of them immediately charging each other with everything they have. Iron Tail versus Dual Shocks, Thunderbolt and Dragon Pulse, Electro Ball and Outrage. Both of them not giving a single inch at each other. Eventually, both Pikachu and Haxorus are completely exhausted. With that, the two of the trainers calls on their final move, Electro Ball and Dragon Pulse. The moves sword at each other, colliding hard. All of a sudden, the Electro Ball explodes and the Dragon Pulse soars past it and slams into Pikachu, and when it lands on the ground, unconscious. Meaning Ironton officially won the Virtuous Conference and officially earned the right to challenge the Universe Champion for the title. Ash walks up to Pikachu, telling it that it's a great job. While he said that he didn't win, he knows he did his absolute best, and he congratulates Iris on a battle well fought. Later that night, everyone thought to celebrate Iris as the official winner of the Unova League, and she couldn't be happier. With Ash helping to help that, they start wondering what she should do next. With Hilbert Jelly, they returned to Metropolitan City for a while to do some rest, and all of them agree. With that, they start traveling to Metropolitan City, now when the Unova League has come to its end. And that will be all for today. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe if you like this, and I will see you all in part 11, which will be the epilogue of this rewrite. Bye!